He's in a medical unit attached to one of the Army units helping out, not knowing who was going to come out safely. It's a terrifying feeling, but what we have to do.
An anxious time for some families here on the West Coast as loved ones head off for the Middle East to fight with Israel against the militant group Hamas. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. Several people from Colorado say they are ready to join the fight against Hamas following the group's horrifying attack on Israel over the weekend. 7 people from Denver's Aish of the Rockies are heading to Israel right now. The community's rabbi says some in the group are reservists in the Israeli army and others are volunteers.
Makes the emotions so much higher and so much more personal when we know the people in our community that are no longer here because they're there.
There are clear signs tonight this war is escalating. Earlier today, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to crush and destroy Hamas. The Colorado rabbi says his community will pray for their loved ones' safe return.
We have no idea how long this conflict is going to drag out. We have no idea how long the people that we've sent, our sons and daughters, are going to be enlisted. We don't know. And not knowing who is going to come out safely, it's a terrifying feeling, but what we have to do, my message has been, you can't let the terror get a hold of you.
Also tonight, an Oregon community is hoping for the safe return of a woman being held hostage by Hamas. TMZ has obtained video of Shani Luke, who was in the crowd at that music festival that was attacked on Saturday. Luke lived in Portland when she was an elementary school student, and her former teacher says she brought so much joy to the classroom.
Just sweetness, just light, joyous sweetness in our classroom. She was one of those children who just loved what was happening, everything that was going on, and that is just this light that she was, and God willing still is.
Luke's mother says tattoos helped her identify her daughter as one of the hostages. She spotted her in video of hostages being taken away by militants. She says she has received some information citing unnamed Palestinian sources, which suggests that her daughter is still alive. At least 17 Americans are reported missing following the weekend assault. These are live images tonight from Jerusalem, where a plane with American military aid has now landed. The White House confirmed today at least 22 Americans are among the more than 2,000 people who have been killed in this conflict so far. President Biden spoke today saying the U.S. is doing everything in its power to get Americans to safety.
We moved a U.S. carrier fleet to the Eastern Mediterranean, and we're sending more fighter jets there in that region, and made it clear to the Iranians, be careful. We want to make it real clear. We're working on every aspect of the hostage crisis in Israel, including deploying experts to advise and assist with recovery efforts.
And tonight, many parents are worried their children might be exposed to graphic images from the war online. KTVU's Brooks Giroux shows us what's being done to limit what children see.
An explosion of violence in video and pictures taking over social media in the days since Hamas militants attacked Israel.
There's a point at which only a human being can only take so much terror, so much barbarism, and we're reaching a saturation point.
Rabbi Howard Jacoby Rubin is head of the Jewish Community High School in San Francisco. He sent this letter to the families, recommending parents talk with teens about social media use and possibly delete apps like TikTok and Instagram to avoid exposure to graphic images.
Those images are searing and can be paralyzing. So we don't want anybody to put their head in the sand and ignore what's going on. Rather, we just want adults and students together to be in conversation about how much of this can you take at one time.
Already, the school community has been in mourning. A parent lost a nephew, a student lost a cousin, and alumni are actively serving in the Israeli military. Gruesome online images just add to the anxiety.
Watching a lot of graphic images can create sort of this vicarious trauma.
Rebecca Brandstetter is a school psychologist. She says the younger the child, the higher the risk, and with social apps encourages parents to be monitors and mentors.
You don't just give unfettered access to social media and expect kids to be able to have the cognitive and emotional resources to process it
Especially with rising hate and anti-Semitism, says Cal State East Bay professor Grant Keehan. He says live streaming of violent acts like massacres in synagogues is not new.
What I really do fear, though, is when that gets translated into actions on the ground, which have also been on the increase.
Also increasing, disinformation and difficulty separating fact from fiction.
I suggest approaching any content in social media with a lot of skepticism. Assume it's false before you assume it's true, and try to prove that it's true.
With so much spread on social media, some in the Jewish community say it's overwhelming, and the focus needs to be on the well-being of the most vulnerable amid a turbulent time.
The bigger horror is being paralyzed by knowing what's happening to people just because they're Jews.
Brooks Jarose, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
And our coverage of the war between Israel and Hamas continues online. For the latest updates, check our website, westcoastwrap.com. We turn now to a major ruling in New Mexico where a federal judge has cleared the way for enforcement of a controversial public health order that bans people from carrying guns at parks and playgrounds. This is a big victory for Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham, who implemented the order in response to recent shootings. Those restrictions ignited protests and lawsuits by gun rights advocates seeking to block the order as legal challenges continue to move forward. Tonight, there are accusations of witness intimidation in the ongoing trial of 3 Tacoma, Washington police officers charged in the death of Manuel Ellis. Authorities do confirm Ellis's mother, who took the stand earlier this week, found a tracking device on her car and had her tires slashed just days before testifying. Fox 13's A.J. Janavel has more on today's developments.
McDowell captured this incident on her cell phone. The defense argues that McDowell and Lowry are the state's most significant witnesses, but they question just how well they remember what happened.
The passenger control door opens up and hits Manuel Ellis.
Keon Lowry sat in his car with his daughters on the night of March 3rd, 2020. His kids' mom, Sarah McDowell, sat in a separate car directly in front of them. She explained to the court how she saw the officers respond.
Ran around the front of the cop car and grabbed Manuel and body slammed him onto the ground. The passenger officer came from the side, or came, they were all right there, came and then started punching Manuel in the face over and over again.
Lowry said he got out of his car and yelled at the officers. Without the jury present, the defense asked Lowry about his use of marijuana, specifically on the day of the incident.
These two witnesses, him and Ms. McDowell, are arguably the state's most significant witnesses because they're the only two that say that they saw the beginning of the interaction between Mr. Ellis and police. The defense has asserted self-defense, both us and Officer Burbank, and so that initial interaction is crucial. And if these individuals were under the influence, we at least need to be able to ask them under oath whether they were or they weren't.
After Lowry answered several questions from the defense, the judge determined marijuana use had no effect on his testimony. The defense also asked McDowell about Ellis's response to the officers.
So they told Mr. Ellis to put his hands behind his back multiple times, but Mr. Ellis didn't do that, did he?
No.
And her ability to recall the night.
In an interview that it's been so long ago that you're really not sure about the events that happened on that night.
I can remember it. Overall, what happened, what I seen. Can't remember all the details completely.
And that was Fox 13's A.J. Janavel reporting for us tonight. The next witness in this trial is set to testify, and that is an audio expert taking the stand, and we will continue to follow the case. A new report out claims 2 University of Idaho housemates who survived a stabbing rampage at their home were texting each other while the killings were happening. According to the digital magazine Airmail, grand jurors in the case leaked that information to the father of one of the victims. According to court documents unsealed in January, at least one of the surviving roommates woke up during that stabbing. She said she later saw a masked man leaving the home through a side door. Police were called the next day, finding those 4 victims. Their accused killer, Brian Koberger, is due in court at the end of this month. Tonight, a man in Portland is celebrating his release from prison after being wrongfully convicted 25 years ago. Danielle Gill was released 2 weeks ago from custody after a Multnomah County judge ruled he should not have been convicted of attempted murder. That wrongful conviction in 1994 meant that when Gill was sentenced for a crime he did in fact commit in 1998, his sentence was extended to 44 years. The Oregon Innocent Project took up Gill's case in 2019 after hearing his story.
I felt like, okay, this sentence is unjust because it's based on something I did not do, in the past.
He wrote to us about his 1994 case. We reviewed the documents that he sent us and some of his original trial material, and we thought he had a credible claim of innocence that was worth investigating further.
The 1994 conviction was dismissed after Gill's released. He says he is still looking for a job, but does have housing, and he's planning to get an education and start a small business. Coming up on West Coast Wrap tonight, huge crowds and a party-like atmosphere as a pair of giant rocket boosters make their way through the streets of Southern California today. Coming up tonight, why people in this community say it is a special moment for them. And see how tonight's premiere of Taylor Swift's new movie has taken over an entire West Coast shopping center.
Just a beautiful day for most just west of the Rockies, but there is a change you need to know about, and we'll talk about that when we come back.
They're excited about space and science and being scientists. We've been talking about that all week, about exploring and asking questions and just being curious.
The arrival of massive parts from NASA's Space Shuttle Endeavour created a parade-like atmosphere in Southern California today and drew a lot of onlookers. The shuttle's rocket motors rolled through the streets of L.A. today to get to the California Science Center. As Fox 11's Gina Silva reports, they will be eventually put on permanent display.
Quite the escort before sunrise. Oversize? An understatement when you are next to the massive solid rocket boosters making their way down Figueroa. With daylight, a better look at the largest component of the twin solid rocket boosters and motors used to propel space shuttles into space. And the crowds lining the road as the massive boosters inch their way to the California Science Center, where they'll be positioned upright at the Shuttle Endeavour display. And you bet people were excited, especially kids meeting the Endeavour astronauts.
So this is several million pounds of thrust on these two boosters, get us through the thickest part of the atmosphere with Space Shuttle.
Images here of the exhibit at the Future Space Center Endeavour exhibit with boosters and rockets standing vertically. For those here experiencing this part of it,
it's an amazing opportunity.
Odyssey STEM Academy students and their parents just happened to be here for another exhibit.
Sharing with my son that this is such a special moment.
You weren't even alive, I think, when the shuttles were flying.
Nope.
So what does it mean to see them, you know?
I feel like it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You know, you don't get very many chances like this.
The next step is to place the rockets, the boosters, and the Endeavour together in a vertical position in an exhibit so tall they actually have to construct the building around them. Hopefully done by 2025. In Exposition Park, I'm Christina Gonzalez, Fox 11 News.
Today, NASA scientists talked more about what they're learning from a 7-year mission that ended in Utah. They're calling samples collected from an asteroid a time capsule to our ancient solar system. Those samples include carbon and water in the form of water-bearing clay minerals. Scientists believe those minerals may have landed on Earth 4 billion years ago, creating the world we know today.
That is how we think water got to the Earth. The reason that Earth is a habitable world, that we have oceans and lakes and rivers.
This mission will help our scientists investigate planet formation for generations to come.
Those samples were taken from the carbon-rich asteroid Bennu, almost 60 million miles away from Earth. The capsule that brought the samples back to Earth landed in the Utah desert last month. And another asteroid mission set to begin tomorrow has ties to Arizona. NASA scientists are counting down to tomorrow morning's launch of a spacecraft that will travel to the Psyche asteroid. That metal asteroid is orbiting the sun between Mars and Jupiter. The mission is being led by Arizona State University's School of Earth and Space Exploration.
Psyche is very exciting because it's pure exploration. We're visiting a metal world for the first time. An asteroid, we think that's made mostly of metal. We've been to rocky worlds like the moon and icy worlds like icy satellites around the outer planets, but never a metal world. So it's going to be a real first.
That spacecraft launching tomorrow is expected to reach Psyche in 2026 and spend 21 months orbiting the asteroid.
Alex, that was some really cool news.
Isn't
there.
That cool?
You caught my attention. Certainly did. Let's draw your attention now to this. Your West Coast weather today. Spokane, Washington, topped off at 53 degrees. Mostly cloudy skies, but the precipitation let up. How about San Francisco? Bright blue skies, 67 degrees. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and take a look at the weather today across Denver. It rained and snowed around the region, 76 going up to a high tomorrow, only in the upper 60s with rain showers in the forecast. So meanwhile, our area of low pressure on the West Coast, right around the San Francisco area, all the way into Mendocino County. It drifted due east, providing a mix of rain, snow around the Colorado Rockies, and now it's inundating Montana, working its way into Wyoming, and will push all the way into Iowa. But look at this, due west right here. This is going to change the weather forecast dramatically for the Pacific Northwest all the way into the northwestern quadrant of the state of California. Increasing cloud cover tomorrow in Spokane. And then the rain arrives just in time for the weekend all the way into the Bay Area, void of Los Angeles or even the Las Vegas area. Right now it's 80 degrees in Palm Springs, a pair of 7s in Vegas, a pair of 6s in San Diego. And check out Los Angeles, just shy of 70 degrees. Your West Coast forecast for the next 3 days. Again, that area low pressure due west of the state of California and the Pacific Northwest will be inundating the Pacific Northwest and Seattle all the way into Medford at 63 degrees with cloud and rain. And that's not a good thing. We had the eclipse happening on Saturday. Meanwhile, 68 degrees on Saturday in San Francisco in the Bay Area. Los Angeles topping off near 80 degrees. Bottom line is it's October and it's a changing weather picture. Again, we had 53 degrees in Spokane, dipping down to 49 degrees later on tonight. And rain and sun, Alex, in the forecast from today all the way through Saturday. It's a changing weather picture.
Yeah, and you're staying on top of it. Roberta, thank you. After losing last year's race for governor in Arizona, Republican Kari Lake has announced she is running for Senate. She launched her campaign in front of supporters at a rally in Scottsdale. In her speech, the former television news anchor touched on issues including the border and fighting in the Middle East. Lake is an ardent supporter of former President Trump. She has never conceded after losing last year's race for Arizona governor and has continued to claim the election was stolen.
I am never going to walk away from the fight to restore honest elections. Never. I don't care what the fake news says about it. I don't care what the corrupt people say about it. Fighting for honest elections is not a Republican issue. It's not a Democrat issue. It's an American issue.
By former President Donald Trump.
Former President Trump joined Lake at the rally virtually, sharing his support for Arizona's new Senate candidate. Lake is running in what could be a three-way race against Senator Kyrsten Sinema, an independent, and Congressman Ruben Gallego, a Democrat. Waymo is expanding its robo-taxi service in San Francisco. The autonomous ride-share service will now pick up customers all across the entire city. Previously, Waymo offered only limited service in some busy areas like Fisherman's Wharf, the Embarcadero, and Chinatown. The expansion is the result of a recent vote by the California Public Utilities Commission. But there have been some safety concerns during Waymo's rollout in San Francisco, with the driverless cars involved in crashes and seen blocking emergency vehicles at times. Despite those issues, though, Waymo is now expanding to Southern California as well. Today, the company, which is owned by Alphabet, started offering free rides in Santa Monica and Venice Beach. People can sign up on a wait list to take part in this tour. Waymo is stressing safety.
Using AI, so it knows the difference between a pedestrian and a cyclist. It knows that they have different behavior to predict what might happen next.
That Waymo tour will head to 5 more neighborhoods in Los Angeles in the coming months, including Century City, West Hollywood, and Koreatown. Coming up on West Coast Rap tonight, a lot of secrecy surrounding tonight's premiere of Taylor Swift's new movie in Southern California, what some fans are doing to make sure they are a part of this major event. And a lot of Powerball players excited about the possibility of taking home the world's second largest lottery jackpot in history. Tonight's Powerball jackpot has soared to $1.73 billion. The cash value of tonight's drawing around $757 million. No one has won the jackpot in Powerball since July 19th. In the last drawing that happened on Monday, one ticket was sold in Orange County that matched 5 numbers correctly, and that was worth more than $1 million. Taylor Swift fans filled up a Southern California shopping center tonight, shutting the entire place down. Fox 11's Susan Hirasuna has more on the hype over the premiere of the pop superstar's new movie.
Signs that something is different at the Grove. A major retail center closed. From Sky Fox, here's why. The super secret premiere of the Taylor Swift Eras concert movie, and the Swifties that got the precious few invites are petrified they might step out of line and lose this big privilege. Catherine and Ray came in the morning to avoid the traffic. Then just before 2 o'clock, they got final instructions on where to go.
We got it like 5 minutes ago. You're too late.
What?
I didn't know they were going to send it. They were early. They were early. So.
Don't show the phone. I'm terrified. No. So what do you know? We can't tell you. They're not the only ones who came early, afraid to miss out. Anna Lee is from Fresno. We found her sitting outside near the entrance to the Grove's parking garage, eager to get in.
We've tried multiple times.
With your ticket?
Yeah.
Can you show me?
I don't know. They're very exclusive.
I know.
Because
show it to me.
Taylor Nation is very, they told us to be very secretive, and it's a little scary to show it.
Parking wasn't easy, access to the Grove even less so. And if you're a tourist from Oklahoma, sorry, the Grove is closed. Anything behind this wall shut down. Retailers shut store doors for the ever-powerful Taylor Swift. Are you a Swift fan?
Yeah.
So you're wearing pink, but you didn't get the big invite, huh?
No.
Work on it.
All right, quite the scene there at the Grove for Taylor's new movie. That was Fox 11's Susan Hirasuna reporting for us. By the way, the Eras Tour film debuts at all AMC theaters on Friday. New Mexico's annual Hot Air Balloon Festival keeping the crowds looking to the skies in Albuquerque this week. Video on social media today shows how balloons are filling the sky with an array of color. This marks the 5th day for this year's 9-day-long balloon fiesta. The festival's website says more than 500 balloons taking part this year. That does it for West Coast Wrap. Have a great night.